Great Miyagi once said, when you get to the end of the book, you close the cover. This is the end of this Ranger, but we'll see what's next. And the Ranger story continues. So, what is flipping 3 tractors that you got for free and a set of tire wheel weights get you? A new truck. Well, new to me, that is. It's a Ranger XLT. It's a 4.0 5-speed automatic. It is 2-wheel drive. It is not 4-wheel drive. But the real reality is I only intend to use this for hauling a few things, and I do not intend to drive it in the winter unless I have to. That's what the Jeep Cherokee is going to be for, that I'm going to be building back up. So, 3 tractors later and a set of wheel weights, this is what we ended up with. As far as registration and inspection on the vehicle go, I got a few things to do, but the original Ranger, well, rather the black one that you guys have seen in the past lately, that one I tore down. I managed to sell the rear end off of it for 75 bucks. I managed to sell the console backing. I managed to go and sell a couple of other things off of it. And the tires are potentially already sold because they do not fit this particular series of machine. These are 15-inch. The Ranger that you guys have seen in the past, the 93, had 14-inch rims. I intend to stay with these 15s. So everything at this point is literally paid for by either flipping parts or flipping tractors. Let's see what I managed to pick up. So as I said before, it's an XLT. It's a 2002. It's the last year of this series that they made. Then they moved into the new style. And it is the style that is full four-door. You pop this. Got your interior. Shift on the column. And then over here you got this hidden handle, and you pop this and you got your jump seats in the rear. And the rear window opens up nicely, and these jump seats, you fold it forward and you fold it up, and you got plenty of space in the back. There's easily a good foot wide in there for the whole width. Now, the one problem with these that I've noticed already with the kids is that your seat buckle is here. So if you're not paying attention, you go to open the door to the back while somebody is sitting buckled up. It's a tad bit uncomfortable. It does have these step-ups. I'm not a fan of them, but they're in pretty good condition. The rocker panels aren't rusted out. Fuzz approves. Now, the bed is definitely showing its rust points. You can see right here in between. See if I can zoom in on that. Right here, I can actually stick my hand through the bed. So we're going to be ripping it off. And that gets us to the other point, that the frame in here is nice, at least for me nice, up until you hit the rear, just like all of them. And basically on these Rangers, if you ever look in one of these Rangers and you see that that shackle mount has fresh paint and the frame doesn't, behind that shackle mount going to the bumper is guaranteed to be rusted out on the driver's side, which is why this machine doesn't pass inspection. You can see a little bit of bubbly rust coming out. And the taillights. Now the bed itself is the usual situation. Somebody put in one of these liners And I bet when we pull this liner that we're going to end up discovering it's all rusted underneath. And we'll go from there. The tailgate, unfortunately, is broken. And I didn't know that when I bought it. So before I try and sell the tailgate, I got to fix it. And I'll end up selling off the taillights probably separately. Because flatbed life. We got to get back to that project. Rear bumper's looking good. Somebody replaced it because you can see right here that there's just barely starting to rust through on the back plate. So at some point it was replaced. But let's see if I can show you up under here. Right in here is where my hand should not fit. So that's rusted out, so we're going to take the bed off, we're going to slice this whole section out, and we'll probably actually unbolt this entire shackle assembly. Like I said, if you see that being painted and fresh, it means that most likely is on its way out. So we're going to fix that, and like I said, frame's in nice condition otherwise. Tires on the rear are nice, good little general grabbers. Well, Ultimax. I don't mind running this series, but what I've discovered is if you're not paying attention really well to your inflation, that this gets warped and it causes these to do some stupid things. So they're prissy tires about inflation, unfortunately. It's got a spare in the back, but I'll probably just dump that out and cut that section that holds it in the frame out of there so that it's one less thing to deal with. Bed rails, as always, they're going to need to be replaced if somebody wants to use the bed. Nothing too major though. And the rest of the frame looks pretty good. And the cab mounts look as if they're in good condition also, so that's nice. See, right here, you can see a blowhole right through there. Come around, we got a cab corner that's starting to rust up, but definitely is salvageable without too much issue. The rocker panels are actually in really good condition for what it is. Like I said, I'm not much for these runner bars, but they're there and they're in decent condition, so we're going to run them. I'll open this up so you can see. Interior is really clean. The guy did a wonderful job cleaning it up. Basically, he bought it out of state, ran it for a little while, and then discovered that the frame was more than he cared to handle. Oh, we'll see if we can open the engine. So on these Fords, the engine pulls right here on almost all of them. I'm not a fan of this bug deflector dingus here. I don't know why people like them. I've always found them to just be a twit to deal with. There we are. Inside.
Oh, okay.
So, I've never heard of a super start. If anybody knows where the heck that comes from, feel free to tell me. Now the word is this may or may not have come from out of state, so that's probably why I don't know. And that terminal there is definitely getting replaced. I like that the ABS stuff is all where you can get to it nice and easy. And the engine definitely could use a little bit of cleaning, but I could care less if it's dirty as long as it runs good. This is something I like up here up north if you're dealing with a vehicle over 100,000 miles, is the alternator, for it to have this kind of coat on it. That means it was replaced recently, it's not the original. For some reason, alternators up here where I live, they tend to burn out about every 75,000 miles to 100,000 miles. So that was replaced recently, which is a nice thing to see. The previous owner did not know whether it had AC still functional. So I'll find that out later. I really could care less whether it does. And we'll get down and take 5 seconds to look underneath. So somebody replaced tie rod ends. Looks as if the rack and pinion is almost entirely brand spanking new. The front deflection cradle definitely could do with a little bit of rust treatment, but you got brand spanking new bolts showing up through this front end, so yet again, rack and pinion and everything's all replaced. ABS sensors look like they've been replaced. Now, supposedly it has a bad wheel bearing on one side in the front. So I'm going to have to get into that and see what kind of situation that is. But it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, there's a dragonfly. See him? I wonder what the heck he's doing there. But the other thing about these is I like that they have the upgraded dual piston setup. That's always nice. Some stopping power. Those front shocks are absolutely junk. They're rusted right out. So we're going to be replacing those. Maybe those sway bar links. So there we go. We're moving on to the next Ranger. I probably will end up posting up some photos as I end up doing the frame repair or something like that on either Instagram or the Redneck Computer Geek Facebook page. But I'm probably not going to bother making a video on that. If you've seen one frame weld, you've seen a million of them. It's unnecessary. So, going to be working on getting that done. And then I'll be back to doing the lawn tractor stuff, maybe the mud mower build and all that. But thanks everybody for supporting me, for helping me. Everybody who's answered questions and everything else. A big shout out to Sprocket's Garage, the Facebook group. You guys were awesome in helping me with trying to get this thing back up and running. Nobody ever could have foreseen that it would decide to just plain blow out third cylinder. It is what it is. It went from a compression of 160 to a compression of zilch. And it was just time to move on. So thanks everybody. And we'll be back to the other homesteading and lawn tractor builds and stuff like that soon.